Attention poets! It's time for St. Paul's annual Sidewalk Poetry Contest.
St. Paul Public Works will be taking submissions now through April 17th.
Winners will have their work stamped into city sidewalks. To learn more, here's a story we ran back in 2008, the first year of Everyday Poems for City Sidewalk. Stay tuned to find out how you can enter.
Have you noticed anything new about some of our city sidewalks this summer? You should have, because this spring, St. Paul Public Works began work on its Everyday Poems for City Sidewalk project. Since the beginning of the summer, literally scores of original poems have been stamped into the city's sidewalks in conjunction with Public Works' annual Sidewalk Rehabilitation Program. Marcus Young, St. Paul Artist-in-Residence, explains how this novel approach to beautifying public space came to be part of the city's landscape.
If you ever take a walk in the city, you'll see that sidewalk panels have in the corner sometimes these little stamps. They are construction company stamps identifying who made that sidewalk. And so one day I just looked a little more closely at these stamps and I thought, well, is this an art opportunity? Is this a chance that we can maybe develop and enlarge these stamps and give this opportunity to poets who live in our city to write in the sidewalk? I mean, you see in the sidewalk there's writing all the time. Usually little kids, or maybe not so little kids, will put their fingers in the wet cement, or they will write "I was here" or "I love Lori" or something like that. And so in some ways this is a take on that. This is our natural desire to stick our finger in wet concrete, and we're just trying to do it a little nicer perhaps.
City residents were asked to be part of the process by submitting their own works of poetry to be considered for stamping into the sidewalks. The contest was popular with St. Paul residents who submitted over 2,000 poems.
And so we asked the residents of St. Paul to submit poems to us. And they responded with great enthusiasm. As you can see here in this box, these are some of the 2,000 poems, more than 2,000 poems that we received submitted to our contest. So we had to read them all. And from the 2,000, we chose 20 winners and 14 honorable mention.
While the poetry selection was taking place, another process was already in motion.
This year's Artist-in-Residence, Marcus Young, had an idea about putting poetry stamped into our city sidewalks. This is a process that we talked about over the winter months, how feasible, what would be the idea, how complicated. The whole intent by Marcus was to try to implement something that would just come into our standard routine of putting our sidewalks down. We didn't designate any areas for it. He wanted to come out and say, gee, this is where we happen to be doing sidewalks today. It'd be a nice place to put a poem in. So these things are going to be scattered throughout the city without any real knowledge of where it was going to happen. So it was an interesting concept. Everyone seemed to be excited about trying this. And so far, we've had some positive feedbacks. I haven't heard any negative feedbacks of what we've done. So it's been kind of an interesting summer in the way it's gone.
Bruce Beasy, Public Works Director, shares his thoughts on the completion of the project.
And it really kind of builds on, in my mind, the literary tradition of St. Paul. Some of the famous artists that we have, like August Wilson and F. Scott Fitzgerald and Sinclair Lewis, who lived in St. Paul for a while. And one of the other very unique things for me is the way that I think it dovetails with the mayor's strategic plan. And I think this poetry project really touches on 3 of those strategic plan goals. Quality infrastructure, obviously, with sidewalk replacement. Active living, you have to go for a walk to read this book that we have out there. And then also the soul of the city. I think it adds kind of a whimsical, unique thing that's uniquely St. Paul.
City officials note that the project would not have been possible without the financial support of Public Art St. Paul, a local arts group whose mission is to fund art projects that enhance the public realm.
So the public artist's fee, if you will, for being a resident in the city is completely paid by Public Art St. Paul through funds that we have raised from St. Paul BOMA was the original program sponsor, and most recently a major grant from McKnight Foundation supports the residency. The idea was not only would the artist be at the table to gain insight into city building and therefore infuse it with artistic insight, but also we secured a Neighborhood Star Grant to develop art in streetscapes. And we promised each artist resident that they would be given that star money matched by us. So each artist has a budget of $50,000 raised by Public Art St. Paul to learn things about the way Public Works develops projects, and based on those insights to propose a project.
For more information on where to find the Sidewalk Poetry, go to publicartstpaul.org.
The City of St. Paul Department of Public Works is now taking submissions for the Sidewalk Poetry program. For contest guidelines and to submit your poem online, go to stpaul.gov/poetry.